All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thanks a lot.
Here's Toku. Round of applause.
First grievance is tall mic stands. How you guys doing tonight? So I'm really excited to tell you guys a story about the worst boss of all time. That I had the best job of all time. And I know that's a big claim to say that I had the worst boss of all time, but I have context. So before the time I was 28 years old, I'd had 28 different jobs. As a sample, I was doing a survey. And I have done everything from be a roadie for a rock band. I worked for the Gin Blossoms. Anyone over 30 might know who that is. Thank you. Hey, jealousy. But I also worked as a clerk at an adult bookstore. So I sold dildos. Did that. And I also worked at a sumo chicken boxing ring, which is this weird Tennessee fair thing where you dress up in a chicken costume and hit people with boxing gloves. I made money. I didn't care. So this job and this horrible boss, it was actually the second job I had in Portland. I got a job as a ski instructor, and then I got a job part-time at a music venue. And it had just opened up. It had been a studio before, and it turned into a music venue. And so about a month into my job there, the old house manager left suddenly, which should have been a clue that maybe there was a reason why she did that. And so I said, oh, great, I'll take the job. And they offered it to me, and it was great. It was wonderful. And at first, everything was really great. I got to work with awesome local bands and independent artists. And my first clue that my boss, which I had two of them, which is always a great indication if your job has two bosses that don't talk to each other, my first indication that she was a really bad boss was about 2 weeks into the job, she brought in this vintage lamp that she wanted to put behind the stage. There was like a stage area down here and a balcony above it. And so she goes, would you go get a light bulb? Which I think is, like a 30-minute task to go get a light bulb. So I go to the store, the light bulb shop right down the street conveniently, and come back with a light bulb, and screw the light bulb in, go back to my office, right? Done. I rock. And so she comes in a few minutes later, says, Sam, I went by Sam before. Sam, what is this? And in my head, I'm like, it's a light bulb, I don't. And so we go out, she goes, what do you see? And in my head, I'm like, a light bulb? Like, what? I see a light bulb, like, I don't get it, what am I not? She goes, you can see the whole back of the stage. I'm like, well, yeah, it's a light bulb, that's what it does, it produces light. She goes, well, the back of the stage looks really bad. Oh, okay, so can you fix this? I'm like, oh, all right. So what do? I go back to the store and I buy a dimmer light bulb, right? 45-watt light bulb. Come back, screw the light bulb in, go back to my office. 5 minutes later, Sam, come here, what do you see? I'm like, I don't know, a dimmer light bulb, right? Like, she goes, well, you can't see the lamp anymore. I'm like, you can't see the, yeah, I got a dimmer light bulb. Like, what? So what you want, in my head I was like, what you want is you want a light bulb that produces light that only goes out about this far, and then stops. I can't change the law of physics and the way that light interacts with surfaces, right? I can't do that. But she was asking me to do this, like with a straight face, like, why haven't you done this yet? I'm like, I don't know, I'm sorry. So anyway, 6 hours and 4 trips to the light bulb shop later, I find a light bulb that has a specialty cap on the top that doesn't show light up and just displays the lamp. And for this I got, of course, no gratitude. I got, well, it took you long enough. Killing me. Wow. So that was the first instance that I knew I had a pretty bad boss. So then of course came my first performance review. So she walks me to this bar at night, and if you've ever been at a bar, like, during the day, it's kind of creepy, like there should be beer and people in it, and so it's quiet and sticky. And so she sits across from me, and she puts her hands like this, which is like that little teepee, the power Mr. Burns teepee that bosses do. And she goes, Sam, we're really concerned about your performance. I said, oh. Thought I was doing a pretty good job. And she goes, yeah, well, you're just really missing a lot of stuff. You don't really seem like you've got it. I said, well, what? Can you give me an example? She goes, well, one thing for the lights in the bar. And instantly I'm like, what the hell is this deal with this woman and lights? Like, I don't. She goes, you don't turn the lights in the bar down enough at the right time. Oh, okay. So at what time should I turn it down, and what would be the appropriate level for the bar? And she goes, oh, I can't teach you these things. You just have to know them. So apparently I missed the Jedi light training when I was growing up, that I was supposed to know about light levels, and Anyway, so she gives me a few other examples, and he goes, oh, she goes, and for one more thing, we're really worried that you're too stressed out. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking stressed out. Like, you're gonna have to send me 6 hours for light bulbs and tell me to turn the lights down. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, I'm stressed out. She goes, well, can you try to be less stressed out? And then she says the piece de resistance. She says, you gotta find your zen. I don't know what that means. Find, you want a rock garden, my office? Should I shave my head, stare at a wall? Like, what do you mean find your zen? So anyway, of course, all of this stuff is like pretty standard bad boss stuff, right? Unreasonable things, bad feedback. It wasn't until this one instance that she really reached to a maximum level. So one of my favorite artists finally came to the bar. It's a guy named M. Doty. He was the lead singer of Soul Coughing. Amazing independent artist. And it's super cool when you work at a venue like this because you get to interact with the musicians like just regular people. You're not a fan. So he plays this amazing show, packs the house out. And at the end of the show, she comes upstairs and says, hey, I'd like to take a look at the numbers. And I'm like, sure, no problem. I'm, all happy like a kid. And so she says, everything looks great. She prints out the form, hands it to me, and leaves. And so I'm looking at the form, and it's got all the ticket count information. And the numbers seem weird to me. So I go back and look and check. And I realized that when she was checking the forms, she was reducing the amount of tickets we had sold to this artist. So we were going to underpay him by about $500. So basically she was asking me to steal in this really subversive way. And I wish I could say like I was, put on my armor and I did battle and this is wrong, but she was one of the most powerful people in the music business in Portland and I didn't know what to do. And so I swallowed my pride and the guy walked up and I smiled and I shook his hand and I stole $500 from him.
Whoa.
And I know, right? I'm sorry. I know. Hold on. The story's not over yet. Don't convict me, okay? So the decision haunted me, and so 2 days later I went to her and confronted her at her house and said, this is inappropriate, we shouldn't have done this. And she gave me this long list of justifications, and oh, little one, this is how the music business is done. And so I told her, I looked her in the eye, I said, look, I don't care how you do business, but that's not how I do business. And if you do this again, I'm going to walk out of the venue. And I left it at that, right? She actually started crying, and the moment she started crying, I was like, bullshit, you're not really crying, crocodile tears. But I'm a guy, and I'm weak when women cry, I can't help it. So I was like, that's fine, it's okay, no big deal. So I'm sure it will surprise no one that about a month later I got fired for not having enough booking experience. And I knew why I got fired. I got fired because I wasn't willing to play ball. And for a long time, I really had a lot of negative feelings towards this woman and this job. And I felt like this was this awful thing. I'd fought against this evil demon, and the demon had won. But looking back at it now, I'm really, really grateful to her. Because I've been living my life in this moral gray area for a long time, where I've been giving up my integrity in little ways. And I saw her and where that path led. And it showed me that I didn't want to walk down that path because I didn't want to get to that end. And because of that, I left the music business. I moved into a Zen monastery where I got the name Gentoku. And now I work as a mindfulness coach to help people live lives really aligned with their values and the things that are most important to them.
Nice.
And so I'm here tonight to say thank you for being an awful boss and so dishonest that you showed me what I didn't want to be. Because now I can look in the mirror in my bathroom into my own eyes and be proud of the man that I am because of seeing that woman and the person I didn't want to become. Thank you very much.
Yeah.